We're going to start with how to set up Hooklying. We're going to go through foot position. We're going to go through pelvis position. Then we're going to actually come back to the foot position. And this is how you're actually going to set up the Hooklying. That way, it's much simpler for your client to actually set up. They don't have to understand muscles. They don't understand the feel. You're going to actually cue them effectively so that everything becomes a little bit more automatic. So we'll go piece by piece. So here's how we're going to set up the foot. So your hand can make a wrench like so. And this actually fits into very specific parts of the foot. So I have two of them. And so the first thing I'm going to do is come down and I'm going to capture the heel position. So I'm coming right onto the calcaneus here. So Achilles tendon's right here. Calcaneus is here. So I'm going to fit my wrench right over the top of the calcaneus like so. And then I'm going to turn my hand downward so I can actually put my thumb actually on the table and then my finger on the table. And this is how I secure the calcaneus. So I can actually roll the calcaneus from side to side. And I use my arm here to help control his leg. And then I can actually square the calcaneus to the ground. And so the way that you know whether you're squaring it to the ground is roll it in as far as it'll go, roll it out as far as it'll go. Now, he's trying to move his whole leg and I want separate heel motion. So this is what I'm trying to do. So I'm wiggling this thing back and forth. Okay, like so. I'm going to find the center where it's actually square. I take my wrench, I secure it, and I push straight down into the table through the calcaneus. So it's actually in this direction that I'm going to push down into the calcaneus, and I secure that. I'll take my second wrench. So there's a dent just distal to the medial malleolus. There's another one that matches on the other side. We'll show this from a different angle. Okay. I'm going to take that wrench and I'm actually going to grab, if I grab there, I'm actually grabbing the neck of the talus. And so I'll secure that. And so now I can take both of my hands. I can roll the whole foot out to the edge. I can roll all the way to the inside. You see how the leg follows. I'll block that with my arm. I'm going to secure both of those positions so that they're facing each other like so. I'll square that to the ground. So what I want to make sure is I don't roll the foot in. I don't roll the foot out. I'm going to push my hands towards each other. It will secure the talus and calcaneus. It'll be one piece. Now, the heel of my hand here actually rests just above the first metatarsal phalangeal joint. So if we think about an early position of the foot, which is what Hooklying is going to reproduce, the heel lands and then IR travels through the foot until it gets to here. And then that's what kicks the IR proximally, okay? So I secure the heel, I secure the rest of the midfoot through my hand, and then I drop the hypothenar side of my hand, so my pisiform contact, if you will, goes right down on top of the first metatarsal, and then that's how I square the foot into the table. Okay, so this is an alternate view to show you how to set up the foot for Hooklying. So there's my little wrench. I'm going to come in behind the calcaneus, and you can kind of see that I can roll the foot. Okay, there you go. And I can turn it towards pronation as well. Okay, I'm going to take my other wrench right here. And so there's your dent there, and then there's another one right there. So I can actually grab it like that. So there's two hand grips right there. I'm going to slide down on top of that. So I'm making my diamond shape like so. Okay. And then I'm going to square the calcaneus. So I'm going to rock it back and forth, square the calcaneus, push straight down, and then drop the hypothenar side of my hand down onto the first met. You can see me make the contact there. So I got to be careful not to roll in that direction. So if the leg starts to follow, then you definitely know that you're rolling too far into IR there. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So I'm going to bring this back like so, drop this down. So once I secure the calcaneus and I'm pushing down into this, the calcaneus is not going to move. I'm going to keep it from rolling. Okay. So like so, and then down into the table. There's my secure position. You can see I'm denting the table a little bit, right? And I'm going to tell Eric, there's your middle. Okay. Take up the pressure that I'm applying. Okay. Match me. And I'm going to just slowly take my hand away. And you can see the dent that he makes in the table. To secure the hip, I'm going to hold the foot in its position that I've already secured it in. And then I'm going to come up to the knee. I'm going to grab the knee with my right hand. So this is his left side. So I've got my right hand on top of the knee, and I'm resting my forearm through this thigh. So I secure this foot, this thigh, and I'm going to push straight down through his femur into the table. So I'm actually pushing his hip down into the table. So I've secured the foot, I've secured the hip, and I'll push down. My cue here is to teach him how to hold this hip position. So I'm pushing down into the hip, okay? And he's going to hold that there. And so if it pops back up, then he doesn't know how to secure the hip. So I'm going to push it back down, and I'll just cue him, and I'll just say, hold that pressure on the backside of your hip, okay? And this is going to teach him how to hold the position, but not have to worry about what muscles are doing it. He'll just do it automatically. And it might take you a few tries to get this to stay, but secure the foot, secure the hip, right? And then when you release it and it stays put, then you know he's doing it the right way. When I'm setting up the hip, I'm holding on to my secure foot position. My other hand is on top of the knee, and I'm going to glide him into the table. You can see how I push the hip down into the surface of the table, right there. So he secures that. Now hold on to that for me. Automatically, and you can actually see the muscle activity increase, especially on the medial aspect of the thigh here. He's going to hold that position as I take my hand away, and now we've secured that. And then I would go back, and I would secure my foot position relative to that. He automatically uses the musculature that he needs to hold that position. So now we have a superimposition of internal rotation on the external rotation. I'm going to come back to the foot. I'm going to secure the foot again to make sure that his foot contact is accurate. And then I'm going to push down into the surface. So whatever surface this is resting. So I got him on a treatment table, so there's a little bit of cushion there, which kind of helps a little bit. But if I push down into the foot, I'm going to teach him how to push down evenly through his foot contacts. And then I'm going to say, do you feel the pressure that I'm putting through your foot? Typically, they're going to say yes. And then I'm going to say, do you still have your hip contact? Is it still heavy through your back pocket? And he will say yes. And I'll say, what I want you to do is I want you to maintain the pressure that I'm creating through your foot into the surface. And so usually what the client will do is they will try to push harder than you're already pushing. And then your next comment is, don't try to push any harder than me. Don't try to win. Just try to match it. And then they will let up a little bit, but then they'll still be pressing into the surface. And then what I'll do is I'll slowly take my hands away. They're going to have automatically turned on the hamstring musculature on the back of this thigh. Didn't have to cue them, didn't have to tell them what muscles to use, because it's not just hamstring, actually. They're going to get some medial thigh stuff. So all of the hamstrings will become active under this circumstance. The adductor will be active under this circumstance. And this is how we're accumulating the IR on the ER.